Hello again, and welcome to the end of week 5? Week 5. Which marks the end of pre-production. Yay! It's been a very admin-heavy week, and there's been a lot of finishing off of designage. I've been going over the tasks and the hours, talking to lecturers, friends, course mates, and I came to the conclusion, not on my own, but I accepted that I need to rescope. The project as a whole needed focus. Too much time was going to be spent on programming and producing assets on a level design project. It would have left me with an extremely tight schedule for heuristics and iteration for the level design and the grey boxing. And chances were too little time to put work into the polish the environment will need. So this week I've remade and finished a number of key organisational aspects and design documents. That includes the project plan, the game design document, the level design document, and tools for tracking the project's progression, including the hack and plan and the Gantt. And that doesn't include the bits and pieces that I did to finish off pre-production. It's a lot, but I'll take you through it. First off was the WBS. Finding ways to cut out the fluff of programming and making all these assets was pretty clear cut. It was pretty easy to figure out what I could lose to gain more time on the design, the level design. So in the spirit of modernism, I sought to cut out the slack, to minimalize the excess in the project. That means using a Unity asset pack for the character controller and the enemy AI, which unfortunately means that last week's work had to be cut. But looking at the timeline, it means I won't have to create a combat system. I won't have to spend countless hours on trying to create the AI behavior. And I get to spend more time, on the important things. Because in reality, the character controller was already overdue from the deadline. So, oops. This goes for assets too. Instead of creating the weapons and outsourcing the character models to an artist, which just creates more dependencies and liabilities for delays, I'm simply using assets online and cutting out the middleman for production. The last big change, which is reflected in the LDD, the project plan, and the GDD, a lot of DDDDs, but it's the enemy AI that I mentioned before. Rest in peace to these phalanx droids and bodyguards, lost to the cuts. They've gone to live with the rabbits. Additionally, the behavior for the AI is now dependent upon what the package I'm using can produce. This may mean fewer features that were originally planned, but again, gameplay is not the focus of the project. Gameplay-driven spaces is, but producing gameplay systems is not. So, after finishing all that, I had the new tasks and the estimated hours for the project. So I went on to amend the project plan and remake the Gantt, further breaking down the project into 4 phases of production instead of the big clump of 1, which now seems far more manageable. For the Gantt, I moved to using a software called ClickUp that has been incredible, and also constantly spamming my emails with good stuff, deadlines, but there's no escape. So every task in the WBS is included on the Gantt with clear start dates and deadlines all set out for me to follow. After that, I updated the hack and plan for pre-production and the first phase of production with new dates, hour estimations, and more concise tasks. It's looking pretty sexy, not gonna lie. Okay, that's the scoping. That's all the basics of it. Effectively, it's all laid out in all the documents. It's all there on the hacker plan, and it's all there on the Gantt now. But I'm gonna stop talking your ear off, and I'm just gonna cover the last little bits that I did to finish pre-production. It was straightforward. It was far more feasible after moving everything that was required in engine for the prototype to production. For the level design, research and preparation, I officially called it. Now we have an extensive source of reference materials for all kinds of spaces, everything that I want to put into the level, and a heap of industry references that serve as research for general good practice for level design. And to wrap it all up, I finished the sketches for the UI screens and a nice little diagram for the flow of the UI. And that's it for this week. Done. Finito. Thank God. Moving into the next week and a half, we're looking at getting the prototype finished with a playable build by the end of it. And just as a sneak peek, because amidst the horrors of the last week reorganizing and rescoping everything, the video is 2 days late. I'm sorry. Also, the celebrating of the end of pre-production was felt Monday morning. But we're halfway through the first phase. 2 days in, which excellent. You know, chances are that the tasks laid out in the future phases will probably take more time than is prepared for, realistically. But if we are ahead of schedule in the first week of production, that means we're going to be ahead of schedule when we start the heavy lifting. So, on that excellent note, I bid you adieu, and I'll see you next week.